Hi guys, if you've seen my face before, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't, my name is Grace. The day that I'm posting this video is Valentine's Day of 2026. Happy Valentine's Day. Today marks the 1-year anniversary of when I got kicked out of my high school. And I wanted to tell the entire story today to get it off of my chest and to hopefully be able to give myself closure and to move on from this whole situation. I also wanted to tell this story in case there's anybody out there who has been through or is currently going through a similar situation, because the entire time I was going through it, I felt so alone. Before I get started though, I will clarify that I am reading off of a script for this video because I wanted to make sure I got every detail correct and in order. There will be a link to a document in the description if you would like to read along. Also, there will be captions on the bottom of the screen. Also, on the screen over here, you will see a list of topics that will be discussed in this video, so if any of them are upsetting or triggering, please be warned or click off of this video if it is necessary to take care of yourself. With that being said, here's my story.
I don't know the whole thing.
Don't post it anywhere yet if
I'm-
you record that.
I'm not. I'm just going to do it on my phone. Just do what you did, babe.
I don't know the whole thing.
Well, just do what you did.
When I'm gone, you're gonna smell when I'm gone. You're gonna smell when everywhere. You're gonna smell when I'm gone.
For context, we will have to go all the way back to my elementary school days. I loved school when I was a kid. I was always a straight A student. I was described as very bright, smart, and thankfully very kind. In first grade, I was added to the Gifted and Talented program. According to my parents, my teachers even suggested I should move up a grade, but my parents declined, so me and my brother would be in separate grades, and I could be a normal kid like the other kids my age. My teachers would give me specially made assignments with problems from the next grade, and I would solve them like they were nothing. I was told almost every single day how smart I was, how kind I was. I would go out of my way at recess to make sure everybody had someone to play with, whether that was me or not. Most of the other kids, and even some of my teachers, didn't like me. A lot of people thought I was loud and annoying, and most of the kids would call me ugly. I got bullied pretty badly, but because I was such a sweet kid, I never realized it was bullying. In my mind, bullying was being shoved into lockers and beaten up and ignored and laughed at, like what I saw in the movies. That's not what was happening to me. In fact, I talked to everyone in my class every single day. Even the kids that didn't like me would have full conversations with me. Plus, even some of my teachers treated me this way. I remember one specific time where my teacher in elementary school hid my desk behind a wall corner and told the other kids in the class not to let me participate in the games or just not to talk to me at all. I thought that it couldn't have been bullying because I thought these kids were my friends, but I later found out that they all actually hated me. The fact that I never noticed it was bullying didn't help either, because it led me to consider some of these kids my friends. They would make jokes about me, and I would always laugh with them thinking they were my friends. I spent most of my elementary school years hanging out with people who made fun of me behind my back, and I thought that was normal for some reason. I started to stop trusting myself when I thought somebody was a bad person. I told myself I was just being dramatic. So I learned to laugh off the mean comments, and I kind of just accepted that I wasn't there to be liked, and I told myself that that was okay. And then I started 6th grade. My middle school did all of the teaching on this website called Summit Learning. If you haven't heard of it, basically, it would let the students teach themselves the material at their own pace. You would have to study on your own and take these 10-question quizzes in order to pass and continue. And this was really, really hard for me. I could never get myself to stay focused and learn, and full transparency, I ended up cheating my way through the majority of the year. I felt ashamed of myself. I was supposed to be the smart kid, the gifted and talented kid, and I was cheating my way through every single assignment. Obviously, I didn't learn anything. So when I moved on to 7th grade, it got much worse. I didn't really understand social cues, which caused a lot of the bullying to get worse. I couldn't go through one class without being laughed at or picked on. And I can remember one specific time where this boy in my class threw his half-eaten banana at my face. Disgusting. This made me start to hate going to school. It felt like my entire grade hated me, including my friends at the time. I started to feel like I didn't belong anywhere. It got so bad I started to skip all of my classes. I would go to the classes I liked and hide in a specific bathroom that was basically never used during the ones that I didn't like. This is when I first started to struggle with my mental health and my grades plummeted. At first, it wasn't all of my classes. It was one assignment I didn't turn in, then another, and then another. I kept telling myself, I'll catch up later, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll figure it out next week, even though deep down I felt I had already slipped too far. I knew I was struggling, but I didn't think it was that bad. I kept comparing myself to my friends at the time who were going through situations far worse than mine, which became my excuse for not asking for help. I thought failing meant that I was lazy, stupid, worthless even, yet I still felt like I was lucky compared to others. This routine of skipping every class lasted until March of 2020. COVID hit. Everyone was stuck at home, and so my parents decided that they would use this downtime to help me and my brother with our schoolwork. And they found out that I still had assignments from back in March incomplete. Rightfully so, they were pretty pissed. So we hauled ass and we got the equivalent of an entire school year's worth of work completed in 6 weeks. Once again, I didn't learn anything. And the same habits followed me into 8th grade. I was being homeschooled my 8th grade year, once again due to COVID, and basically spent the entire time playing games instead of doing my work. I honestly, looking back, believe that I should not have gone through those 3 years. I think I should have been held back. I was academically and emotionally behind all of my classmates, which definitely was not helpful going into my freshman year of high school. I really struggled to understand any of the material in my classes. I mean, I was basically 3 years behind everybody, and looking back, I don't really think I ever stood a chance. I struggled to fit in as well. The main friend group I had back then, I don't think they liked me. And yes, I was still being bullied, but at this point I was used to it. I fell into a severe depression, and truthfully, I struggled really badly with suicidal thoughts at this time. I was pretty miserable. It almost caused me to give up on the hobby that I love the most, which of course is theater. I still did theater, but I didn't really feel like I belonged because, again, a lot of people in the theater did not like me. I was loud, I was annoying. I didn't really feel like I belonged anywhere for a long time, and this lasted throughout my sophomore year as well. But in my sophomore year, I started struggling with an eating disorder and dealing with sexual harassment from some of the boys in my grade. I won't talk about a lot of that because, truthfully, I blacked most of it out because it was really bad, but it was rough. And I even started talking about quitting theater because I felt like I wasn't good enough to be there. In my junior year of high school, things took a mild shift for the better. My brother and a lot of my friends were in the year above me, and they were getting ready to graduate at the end of the school year. Seeing some of my friends and my brother and even some of my brother's friends start to prepare for their futures for the rest of their lives, it honestly kind of scared me. It suddenly hit me that I was running out of time. My school had also gotten new theater directors at this time, so I decided to give it one more try. I had it in my mind, and I think I even told my dad directly, if my junior year ended and I still felt like I wasn't good enough at theater, that I would just give it up for the rest of my life. Thankfully for me, that's not what happened. Thankfully for me, the musical we did in that spring was Matilda the Musical, and I had been casted as Lavender, Matilda's best friend in the show. I loved it. I loved every single second of it. I still look back on this show with such joy and fondness. Like, I showed up to every Saturday night set construction. I helped build so many of the props. I even cut my long hair that I had spent months trying to grow out just that way I could play this part better. This show meant everything to me. I finally felt like I found a place where I could be myself with little to no judgment. It, not to be dramatic, but it like saved my life. Senior year, class of 2025, the school year started and everything immediately was overwhelming. Some of my friends who I've known my entire life were getting accepted to college or enrolling in the military. They were all doing such incredible things and I wasn't. It was a very blunt and harsh reminder that once again, I was behind. I went to my counselor all the time, probably at least like twice a month, and I would ask her every day if I even had a chance at graduating. They told me as long as I stayed on track, I would still graduate on time. Here's the thing though. When I started my senior year, I had failed math, science, and history in my junior year. I'd have to make up those classes in order to graduate. So on top of my 8 in-person classes at my school, I had 3 online classes as well. I was taking an in-person Algebra 3 class while trying to learn Algebra 2 online. Once again, I was so far behind. And in all honesty, I basically had 0 hope left. I kept trying, but it never felt like I stood a chance. And as the year kept going on, as my friends kept achieving better things, I kept falling further and further behind. December of 2024, my school's theater announced that we would do the musical Alice by Heart. Alice by Heart is an amazing retelling of the story Alice in Wonderland that covers heavy themes like grief, growing up, and loss. It really is a beautiful musical and I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. I was hoping and praying to get the part of the Queen of Hearts in this show. She obviously was the main antagonist of this show and she had a badass solo song, which is something I've always wanted when it came to theater because I've done theater since about 6 years old and I have never been able to show off my singing and acting capabilities. Not that I think I'm some incredible singer and actor, but I just wanted the chance to show what I could do. And surprisingly, I actually did get this part. I got casted as the Queen of Hearts. I was so grateful and honored and excited to finally have a chance to shine, and getting it casted as the Queen of Hearts did give me the motivation I needed to keep going, to keep trying, and I actually started believing that everything would work out. Wednesday, February 12th, 2025. I was called into my counselor's office that morning at like 9:05 a.m. It was my counselor, 2 assistant principals, and the principal of our school in that room with me. They sat me down in that room and I had no idea what was going on or what was about to happen. One of my assistant principals asked me if I was doing the musical in April, to which I responded to her telling her I had been casted as the Queen of Hearts and that I was so excited for this show. She looked me in the eyes and she laughed at me and she said, "Not anymore." I don't really remember anything else about that conversation that day, but it genuinely broke my heart and it's hard for me to remember the details. The only thing I can really remember is that I was just sobbing. I begged them not to do this to me. I was sobbing. They gave me 3 choices in that meeting. I could either drop out of high school and get my GED. I could switch to the other high school in our town and graduate a year later with the class of 2026. Or I could switch to an online alternative school and graduate with my class in 2025. But I could not attend my current school anymore. which meant I wouldn't be allowed at any senior activities. No senior prom, no senior sunset, no senior choir concert, and of course, no senior musical. I had to beg them to let me call my mom so that way I wouldn't have to make this choice alone, and after like 10 minutes of asking, they let me call my mom, and a meeting with her was planned for that Friday, Valentine's Day. After that first meeting was over, I went up to my director's classroom and I had to tell her that I couldn't do the show anymore. I started sobbing and apologizing for letting her down. I felt horrible, and to this day I still do. But instead of yelling at me or being disappointed or showing her very justified anger that she probably felt, she simply stood up and hugged me. And she spent the rest of her planning period contacting all of my teachers and working out a way where I could stay in her room for the next 2 days and she would help me haul ass on any assignments I was still missing. Even during my biggest failure ever, she believed in me, and I don't think any words could explain how much all of that meant to me. I got home that day, and obviously my mom knew. They had called her. I begged my mom not to tell my dad what was going on. I was honestly afraid that he would be disappointed in me. My parents never asked me or my brother to be straight-A students or valedictorian. They just wanted to see us walk across that stage, and I couldn't even do that. Fast forward to that Friday, me and my mom sat in that office with an assistant principal and my counselor for roughly 45 minutes, if I remember correctly. My parents were really mad at me, but my mom was also pissed at the school because they had never contacted either her or my dad to tell them that my grades were that bad. Granted, I should have told them, but I didn't, obviously. And the school never reached out. I don't remember anything more about that meeting either because I zoned out through most of it. But I walked out of that school, officially kicked out, and I had to wait a week to see if I could even be accepted into the online alternative schools program. If I wasn't accepted, I was just gonna get my GED. I fell into the worst depression of my life that day. I felt like the biggest loser, the biggest failure, the biggest embarrassment of all time that day. It was really hard to accept what had happened, especially in those first few hours. If it hadn't have been for my family and my friends, Bagel, Mila, Kenzie, Eloise, Max, Helena, who were there for me during that time as well as so many other people who messaged me every single day to make sure that I was doing okay during that time, I don't think I would have made it. I don't think I would still be here right now to tell this story and make this video. So if you are watching this, truly, thank you. Thank you for caring and being so kind and compassionate. I really appreciate it. Boom, I'm getting emotional. Oh my god. Alright. Hello. This is my father. He agreed to do this willingly, I promise. Yes, he did. This is my mother.
Hey.
This is Mother Vent. Hello, Mother.
Hello, daughter.
It's because my name's Aquila. I call you Mother Vent.
I got it.
On Dennis's channel, you're called Mother Atoll, but we're
Mother
better.
Atoll.
We're better here. This is my brother. You know him. This is Dennis.
Word.
Brother Vent. You are very well aware that this video is about me getting kicked out of high school because I'm a dumbass.
Yeah.
Yeah. would you like to give your 2 cents? Basically, the question is just simply what's your perspective on me getting kicked out of high school? So, my mom was actually in the meetings with me at the school. So that's kind of why I wanted to get your POV so bad, is because you were like there.
Yeah.
So I'm not really gonna ask a leading question, but like, how was your perspective of that whole thing? But like, are there any parts of it that stick out to you as like a parent's perspective?
The whole impact of it,
Yeah.
basically it sucked. I mean,
I couldn't possibly imagine why.
no, we'll be frank and straight to the point. It sucked. They treated you completely unfairly.
Yeah.
From day one, from the day you started high school. I think their expectation of you, because your older brother had already been there, so they set his bar here.
That's his little sister.
And they expected you to be right there. Well, you two are 2 different people.
Exactly.
I get out of class. I get in mom's car.
Yeah.
She say, your sister just got kicked out of high school. And I go, word?
Well, I feel like they singled you out for one reason or another,
Yeah.
because it wasn't fair.
Yeah. No hard feelings, by the way. You can say whatever you want. Dad bashed me like crazy.
You arrived. Their expectation of you was a little higher than what arrived. And I just don't think you got a fair shot from day one.
Right.
You know, you struggled. We know that. We struggled. You had a little learning.
Yeah.
Little struggle with your learning, whatever.
ADHD.
You know, you could call it struggling, you could call it ADHD, you could call it just being lazy and not doing it, whatever you want to do it. Either way, there was a part of it that was your fault.
Yeah.
Some of it you didn't do it, we had to get on to you, and you just, like, I quit, I ain't doing it.
Right.
At the other hand, some of it was the teacher's fault for not letting us aware that you were getting so far behind and having issues.
Right.
Frankly, I don't give a shit. Because I kind of registered that this was bound to happen. Because you were kind of
Fair.
throwing.
Throwing high school.
For lack of a better term, you were throwing all year.
At the end of the day, though, you are the one that didn't do the work.
This is a true statement.
However, the communication between teacher, principal, and parent
Yeah.
was non-existent.
Not at all. Granted, I could have told you my grades, but like, let's be so real. Am I gonna do that?
I mean, I was hoping you would.
Let's be so real though.
So here's your options. You can redo your senior year here at another school, or, you know, or basically you just fend for yourself.
Yeah.
So, no,
Just figure it out.
I blame the school because they let you basically ride a year behind for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then wait until 3 months to graduation and be like, hey, you know what? You're not going to pass. You're not on the same level. You didn't get all your stuff in. You're kicking you out.
I feel like they offered you every opportunity except for anything that involved walking with your class.
Right.
If I could go back and do it again, I would demand that they put your curriculum on the computer. And because as fast as you finished the curriculum that they had, you could have easily done 2 more credits.
Right. You graduated from the school the year before,
Yeah,
and then
that is how time works.
the year after, I did not.
Yeah.
Was there like anything said about me that you know about from other people? Like, was anybody else talking about me? Did you hear anything?
Probably, but I wasn't listening.
Why am I not shocked? Why am I not shocked?
Because if it was anybody, it was...
What were they saying about me?
Again, don't fucking know. I was there, but I wasn't there.
That's so mean. I'm like really offended.
Well, maybe apply yourself.
You know, if you were in that bad a shape and they were going to, and they knew, it wasn't like it was a shock. They knew you were struggling. They shouldn't have let you audition. They should have pulled you in and been like, look, here's where you're at. This is where you're standing at right now. We don't think you're going to be able to do this. We need to take you out of some things here to let you focus on graduating. I would have supported that and respected that, and I would have been on your case as hard as I could have been.
I would have been really upset about it, but like looking back at this point, I would have totally
It
understood.
would have been fair.
It would have made total sense.
It would have been fair, as crappy as it would have been. It would have been fair.
I actually don't think I've ever asked this. Do you remember anything about that phone call? Anything at all? Other than me texting you as you were having the phone call apologizing.
The biggest thing that I can remember from the phone call is she acted like it was the counselor.
Yeah.
And she acted like it was a huge inconvenience for her to have to call and inform me.
Really?
And then she called me back to let me know that some of the teachers thought that you were taking it hard, obviously. And she wanted me to keep an eye on you.
I forgot
because
about
she was
that.
afraid that you might hurt yourself. And she was like, I'm so sorry to have to call you.
I forgot that they called and like put me on
Right.
watch, technically.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Oh my
but she
God.
acted like it was the biggest inconvenience.
Tell me about it. So the meeting happened on February 12th where they pulled me in and said blah, 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 blah. And then on Valentine's Day, that Friday, is when me and Mom went to the school and had the whole conversation. After school on the first day, Mom knew about it and I asked her not to tell you.
Parents know when something's wrong.
Well, yeah.
We know you.
But you didn't think it was that bad, I'm sure.
I could tell at dinner, and I even asked you if you're okay or whatever. I just figured you had a rough day at school, rehearsal, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Oh boy, did I.
You know, basement flooded, so I had to leave work, come home. Well, as I'm leaving work, calling my wife to tell her I'm on my way home. That's when she fills me in on the 10-minute car ride from work to home. Gracie's home, and I'm going to explain to you why. Didn't want to tell you last night because she was still upset and everything. I didn't want to draw attention to it. Wanted to let you kind of settle for a day before
Before all hell broke loose.
before you know, because you were worried what I was going to do.
I was very worried what you were going to think.
Already knowing the past history of the school, the way they treated you and everything, it really came as no surprise.
Mm.
I was mad, don't get me wrong.
No, I believe it.
I was mad at them, I was mad at you.
I believe it.
I just feel like they did everything so quickly, and it was almost like an attack.
Right.
And they gave us options, but really there was only one option
Get the hell out.
on the table. So,
Right.
As upset as I was and disappointed about the whole situation in general, I was like, I don't want to see you have to go through another year of crap and suffer again. So let's either online it for 3 months or let's GED and test it out in a week and be done.
Yeah.
Luckily, you did get in, and thanks to Mommy and me, you know,
And
especially
ChatGPT.
thanks to Mommy being out there with you all day and helping you and really making sure you did it. You actually finished school and graduated a month before everybody else did.
And I just remember being really upset because I can just imagine you being at home. It was 9 o'clock in the morning, so you were probably asleep, I
Right.
imagine. And you wake up to a phone call expecting like, oh, Grace wants to go home and they're calling me saying she's sick. Hey, your daughter's getting kicked out of high school.
Yeah.
I can just imagine the culture shock from that.
right, for
Like,
real.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me. I appreciate it a lot.
Okay.
I love you. Yay! Alright, well, I guess I'm gonna end it there because I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I am gonna go take a nap.
Hey.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Ow, fuck.
Those few months went by pretty fast, like a blur. The day I got kicked out, I actually wrote my song Isolated in literally 2 hours. The bridge in that final song is actually the first take from that very night. Where I'm crying, that take. Me and my mom finished every assignment I had to do, and we Googled all the answers truthfully, but I was finished with all of my schoolwork a month before graduation. I went to LexCon with my friend Bradley, where I did my first ever cosplay and met some voice actors from one of my favorite shows. I got to go to New York with my choir, and I made some amazing friends on that trip. I felt like a normal high school kid again. I volunteered at every show of my school's musical, and they killed it every single time. It broke my heart to not be up there performing with them, but I was so honored to watch them perform. I even still got to do my senior speech that my theater does, and everybody cried. I went to my senior prom as a guest. I still got to participate in my senior choir concert. Shout out to my amazing choir teacher for finding a way to let me keep singing. I still went to senior sunset. I still walked through my elementary and middle school. I still got to do all of the senior activities I had always looked forward to since I was a kid. But it wasn't the way that I had pictured it. My school's colors were navy and green. My elementary school color was navy, my middle school was green, so it was pretty fitting and ironic that my high school colors were navy and green. So ever since my freshman year, I had imagined that I would be wearing a navy graduation gown. My gown was purple. Purple has always been one of my favorite colors. I love purple, but I hated wearing it that day. I felt really alone. I felt humiliated. I cried on the day of my graduation because I was so embarrassed. My family and some of my friends were in the audience of my high school graduation, watching me and about 20 other kids walk across a middle school auditorium stage. I was humiliated. I felt like such a failure, an embarrassment, one of the biggest days of my life, a day I had dreamed of since I was a kid, graduating high school, getting ready for my future. And in that moment, I wished that it would never have happened. I let my teachers down. I let my friends, my family, the people who believed in me down. And worst of all, I let myself down. If 6-year-old me saw how we had turned out, what happened to us, what we went through, I feel like she would be devastated. Yet, at the same time, 11-year-old me would be proud that we even made it through it all. So that's why I keep going. That's why I haven't given up. For the 6-year-old me who had such big dreams that we still have to accomplish. For the 11-year-old me who never thought we'd make it to 18. For the 7-year-old me who felt ashamed of everything she had done wrong. I keep going for me. I have managed to do some pretty cool things since I graduated. I played B in Something Rotten Junior. I met incredible people. I got a job at a coffee shop even though I hate the taste of coffee. I got casted as Maleficent in Descendants the Musical, got fired from previously mentioned coffee shop, found a different job that I love, and of course, I still stream and make silly songs and stupid YouTube videos. I was somehow able to find joy in the whole situation after it was finally over. It took me a while to be accepting of the whole thing, to admit that it had happened. I don't think I'll ever fully be okay with it, but at least now I can look at the bright side, even if only a little bit. I am still really ashamed of the whole story. If you watch my streams on Twitch, you'll see me joke about it a lot, but it's really hard for me to actually talk about it seriously. And I guess that's why I wanted to make this video. It still really hurts to think about and to talk about, and I just want to be able to move on from it. I want it to be over. And that's the end. Literally, that's where my script ends. So, thank you so much for watching this video and listening to my story, and do your schoolwork. Goodbye.